All right, so I want to welcome everybody to iLearn Review Live. My name's Richard again, and I do want to let you know we've switched over iLearn Review to the new stuff. So it is now live with the current cruise as well as all future cruises, so just so you know. And today I want to talk about the end of passwords. So, don't thank God, because you're not going to like what replaces them. You can thank God all you like, but you're not going to like what replaces passwords. That's the thing, to give you a little idea. So how many of us use passwords now? And how many of us use the same password for everything? How many don't want to admit you use the same password for everything? Let's be completely honest. But here's a question. Now, this is a very loaded question, but hopefully your email password is a complex password. Is it?
Well, it's called medium.
Does it have what's called medium security? Does it have a capital letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and a symbol?
Yes. No symbol.
Because you want to make sure you have a symbol. Now, symbols are not that difficult. Do any of you have the letter S in your password? Or the letter A in your password? Just imagine if you can replace the letter S with a $sign, or the letter A with the @ symbol. Here's the thing, though. I want you to understand this simple fact. The password will be gone very, very soon. By next year, if any company is still asking you for a password, it's time to stop doing business with that company. Now you go to me, okay, the password's going away. What's going to replace it? You've probably already seen the replacement for a password and not even known it. You've probably noticed if you've signed in on another device before, it says, hey, we don't recognize this device. We need you to send a code or a text message or something like that. As of right now, for most of us, that is something optional. It's called two-factor verification. It's a second factor of verification. So it wants to send you a text message, it wants to send you a code, it wants to send you something like that. Here's the thing. In the very near future, that will not be optional. It will be required. So, I'll give you an example. All of us to get into our Apple accounts have a password, right? Am I correct in that assumption? We all have a password. If you remember about 2 years ago, all the celebrities' Apple accounts got hacked. Remember that? You saw, well, I don't know if you saw, but there were a whole bunch of naked pictures of a whole bunch of celebrities, and all. I saw the pictures. They were nice, but all the celebrities' accounts got hacked. Do you know how their accounts got hacked? They didn't get hacked from their Gmail account. They didn't get hacked from their passwords. How they got hacked was, you know those security questions? What was the model of your first car? What's your favorite pet? And what city did your parents meet in? For you, that's difficult. For celebrities, they get asked dumb questions all the time, and guess what happens? They give the answer to those questions. If I wanted to know the birthday of Michael Jackson, I could just go on Wikipedia and find out the birthday of Michael Jackson. You know, when you go to reset your password, the first thing it asks is your birthday. So one of the things that Apple did, and Apple's one of the first companies to do this, is if you sign up with a name that's like a celebrity's name, it is going to force you to use two-factor authentication. And I want to show you exactly what that is. Now, I have my iPhone that's on the screen right here, and this is my iPhone I use all the time, and this is my older iPhone, so I'm going to put my older iPhone on the screen as well. Now, I'm going to point out which one we've got. This is my iPhone I use all the time, and this is my iPhone that I've gone ahead and I've signed out of. Now, you'll see on the right, my normal iPhone I use every day. On the left is my new iPhone that I've set up just to do this here. So I want you to imagine you get a new iPhone, and one of the first things when you get the new iPhone is you need to go ahead and you need to sign in. Now, what I'm about to do is very illogical, I promise you. I need to put in my email address, which is easy, which is richard@gotrichard.com, but I'm going to do something very unconventional right now. And you're going to say, why are you doing this right now? I am going to tell every single one of you in this room my Apple password. And you might say, what can you do with it? Well, I have all kinds of apps. I got all kinds of secret Apple stuff. I got stuff that comes out before it comes out, stuff from companies that give me all these things. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you my Apple password, and do you know what good that Apple password is going to be to you?
Zero.
No good. Because Apple has enabled something called two-factor verification. So my Apple password is APPLE, capital PASSWORD 7. Now, you see I've typed this in right here, and I'm going to hit sign in. I will not be able to sign in on this device without verifying that device from an existing device. So what you're going to see is in a couple seconds, it's going to pretend like it wants to do something, and it's not going to let me do it. and it says two-factor authentication. A message with a verification code has been sent to your trusted devices. Now, what is a trusted device? That is any device I have signed in on before. Does that make sense? Between me and you, the reason that Apple asks for the password is because those of us in this room feel comfortable putting in a password. The technical answer is, did it even need to ask for that password there?
No.
Or could I just hit my email address, hit OK, and I would log in? Now, Apple is instituting this as a standard feature if you set up a new Apple account. Now, Google just instituted a new feature to log into your Google account. If you want to, you can enable it that you just hit, you put in your email address and you hit sign in. It will automatically send notifications to all of your devices, and it'll say, someone's trying to sign into your Gmail account from this and this location. Do you want to let them do it? And you'll notice, do you see it says, Richard@gotrichard.com is trying to be signed in from an iPhone near Melbourne, Florida. Now, this is a trivia question later on in the cruise, but I guess I'll give it to you anyway. Melbourne, Florida is where our satellite comes down. So the main point our satellite hits down is Melbourne, Florida. So it's finding it in Melbourne, Florida. Does that make sense there? So we've got that there. And I'm going to say allow. Now, you see, this phone has still not allowed me to do anything, has it? It's kind of locked out. So I must go on a device that I know and hit allow. And you'll see I've got a code. Now, that didn't just go to my iPhone. It also went to my MacBook Pro, my iPad, my MacBook Air, my other iPhone, my other iPad, my Apple Watch. Any device that's already signed in, it went to. And if I type in that code, 185063, now this device will be signed into my Apple account. In the future, all you're going to need to sign into your email provider on a new computer is a device you already have. Here's the bad news. What if you don't have another device? You are SOLTF, which stands for?
I know what the first three are.
We know.
Yeah. Really not in a good situation. Let's put it like that. Now, here's the thing. A lot of you are going, I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know this was going to happen. You know what I say? How many of you have ever read the terms and conditions on your email provider? You know when it says, by hitting agree, you agree to all these terms and conditions. Inside of every major provider's privacy policy, it says that if we see you log in from a new device, we are going to require a second step of verification. If you cannot pass that second step of verification, guess what? Finished.
What if you change phones?
So here's the cool thing. If you change phones, let me give you the concept so you can understand. If you change phones, what you do is before you get rid of your old phone, you sign into your new phone, and you've got that verified. So if you're trading up, you're doing different things like that. I'll mention something kind of interesting. How many of you have ever sold your phone back to your phone carrier with one of the specials they have or anything like that? Have you ever done that? No, you just give your phones to other people. Do any of you have old phones sitting around?
Yes.
So great tip, not related to today's talk, but it's called Gazelle, like the animal, Gazelle. You just put in what you have and the condition of it, and they'll give you cash back for your phone. So they give you cash back for your old phone, for your old iPad, for your old Apple computer, Windows computers. As soon as they leave the store, their value pretty much goes to zero, so they don't really buy back Windows computers, to give you an idea. But they'll buy back old Android phones, old iPhones, old iPads, all kinds of different stuff like that. Does that make sense? That's called Gazelle. And here's the cool thing. This is what we call a segue, and I'll take a couple questions. Gazelle, if you ask for cash, they'll send you what it's worth in cash, and it's pretty good. I mean, like an iPhone 6, you can get back an iPhone 6 64 gig, because I looked at this very recently. You can get like $300 for it still. And they'll give you 5% more if instead of money, you take the money back in an Amazon gift card. So you take the money back in an Amazon gift card. But here's the thing to understand. In the very near future, if you've got a new device and you want to sign in on it, the only way you're going to be able to sign in on it is with a device that you already have with you. And this is the future. This is the way it is, because here's the thing. You all have my Apple password, which is Apple Password 7. When that expires, that's going to be Apple Password 8. And then Apple Password 9. And I'm never going to get to Apple Password 10, because I did Apple Password 1 through 9 with the first A capitalized. Now it's got the P capitalized instead of the A. I got to figure out what new I want to capitalize and start at 1. But I'm at Apple Password 7 right now. But here's the thing. The password is done. Now, I talked about it a couple minutes before this class, and I think it's very important to understand. Yahoo finally officially fired their CEO today, who drove Yahoo into the ground. And a lot of people don't know that Yahoo CEO used to be the head of search at Google. This is an FYI. And when she was fired, she was given a $24 million gift for leaving and driving Yahoo into the ground. So about...
Should we rush out and buy Apple right now? Let's get it out.
There's no reason to buy Apple.
Not Apple, Yahoo.
Yahoo? No, Yahoo's... if you wanted to short Yahoo, that was 7 months ago.
Okay.
And really the only value Yahoo has is in Alibaba, which is a competitor to Amazon we'll talk about in a bit. But talking about two-factor authentication, do we all get the basic concept of it? It's going to get more and more, and I'll tell you something very interesting. About 6 or 7 months ago, I actually went and changed Celebrity's website. If you look at Celebrity's website, under the Internet section, it says, many providers will require a second step of verification, and da-da-da, and that's why very soon we're going to be removing public computers, because these are going to be worthless. Now, I understand I'm talking to the wrong people right now. I understand you're all sitting here because you have iPhones and iPads and Androids and things like that, and you're not going to have these problems. The trouble is, there are the people who will have these problems, and there's nothing I can do to help them because I can't get in touch with them. And I hate to get to the point to say, hey, the fine print was on the website. The fine print was in your email provider, but two-factor authentication, come the beginning of next year, if your service that you're using, Facebook or Gmail or Amazon or Apple, because those are about the only 4 services that will still exist, or Netflix at the end of next year. If it's not using two-factor authentication, you really don't want to use that service, is to give you an idea there. This is an extra level of security, and it is theoretically unhackable because the only way you can hack in is by getting a hold of one of my phones and knowing my PIN or stealing my fingerprint, to give you an idea. So you need to know my password as well as those other things. Yeah?
Is the fingerprint going to stay around?
Is the fingerprint going to stay around? The fingerprint will stay around. What happens is companies always go to other options. I'm going to tell you where it's headed, and I'm actually going to show you a bit later in the cruise. The next option is, see, the fingerprint takes up, and I'm talking in broad terms, I'm not talking iPhone, the fingerprint takes up a large portion of the screen, if you notice, to get that home button and things like that. And the fingerprint is actually, that's a piece of sapphire glass, there's a camera underneath that's doing all that. It's going to go to iris recognition. I have a phone that uses iris recognition. It's going to go to iris recognition instead of fingerprint because that's a much better use
Good, because they can never find it.
of the entire front of the screen. Now we'll talk about, a bit later in the cruise, we're going to talk about the fingerprint recognition a little bit more. But I wanted to say, that's the end for two-step verification. Bye!